So when you look at Max N-Fuze, they've done a few beautiful things. First of all, they looked at the research. They looked at how much of different vitamins would be the optimal amount. They've also looked at some herbs that have been shown very well in the literature to improve ATP production, to support glutathione production, to help with other key enzyme systems in your cells called catalase and superoxide dismutase. And these are important. They're not as important as glutathione. Glutathione is by far the guardian of the cell, truly the guardian, but SOD and catalase do an awful lot of work. Coenzyme Q10 does an awful lot of work inside of the cells. So when you look at all the little pieces, how do we keep ATP production up? How do we put the fires out inside of the cells? How do we keep toxins out of the cells? How do we keep all of the enzymes working well within the cells? It's complicated. And so N-Fuze was designed to answer that need. And so when you look at N-Fuze, there's a couple of really unique features. First of all, it uses nanotechnology. Now, we've heard of nanotechnology in the computer world and all sorts of areas. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know this. It would be like saying this is the moon and this is a marble and this is the size of the moon if we nanosize it. So if you can take a bigger molecule and nanosize it, it moves very easily into the cell, because nanoparticles are less than, in N-Fuze, less than 64 microns. They're tiny, 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 tiny. And so the cells easily admit them. But here's the challenge. With nanotechnology, with the molecules that you can fold into that size, they'll stick to each other. So now if I've got a lot of nanoparticles, they may be very tiny, but if they all stick together, I have a big clump of nanoparticles, and that is not going to move easily into the cell. So what they've done with Max N-Fuze is they've taken clustered water, which is water that has a gentle ionic charge, and it typically forms a cluster of about 6 water molecules. And it opened up the cluster, placed a nanoparticle inside of the water cluster, and let the cluster close back on itself. So now we have a nanoparticle surrounded by water. Well, water does not need to be transported actively into your cells. It is invited in. There's no big complicated transport system involving many different mechanisms and enzymes to get water into the cell. With N-Fuze, the water is what the cell sees, and inside it is the nanoparticle. So the nanoparticles get into the cells almost instantaneously, and I'm serious about that. And so with N-Fuze, the first thing that they did is they said, okay, how do we deliver these components for cellular health into the cell and know that it's getting there? Now, in addition with the N-Fuze, they also did some macro technology. In other words, they took the general nutrients. They did not nanosize everything, for 2 reasons. One is because some things can't be nanosized easily, and honestly, because if you read the label, you want to see some of the things that you're used to seeing. If you nanosize a particle and it gets right into the cell 100%, you know you don't need very much of it. And so if a very tiny amount of a nutrient is all you need, you wouldn't be able to make sense of the label. So what we see with N-Fuze is a combination of a nutrient base. It's very rich, designed to support specifically the function of every cell in your body. Not every function of every cell, but the ones that all cells have in common, as well as the nanotechnology to support that in addition. With N-Fuze, I love it because it's a liquid. So a lot of people don't like taking capsules. Max GXL is a capsule, N-Fuze is a liquid. Now it's a liquid because of the clustered water. If you'll put it in your mouth and just swish it around a little bit, it'll start absorbing right through the membranes of your mouth, even before you put it into your stomach. It's once a day. It's incredibly convenient. It's designed to work perfectly with the Max GXL, including improving glutathione production even more, or at least supporting its recirculation. And so that combination of Max GXL and Max N-Fuze absolutely answers the need for the cells immediately.